My name is Daniel. I'm 74 years old, and I've lived long enough to see people at their best and at their most honest. And strangely, those are not the same moments. Because when everything in your life is going well, people show up. They smile. They support you. They celebrate you. They clap for you. But I learned something the hard way. Clapping doesn't mean staying. And the people who celebrate you are not always the people who stand beside you when everything falls apart. Let me tell you what happened. 10 years ago, my life looked perfect. I had a business that was doing well. I had people around me all the time. Calls, messages, invitations. My phone never stopped. And I thought, this is what life looks like when you've done something right. People respected me. People valued me. People needed me. Or at least, that's what I believed. Until one day, everything changed. It didn't happen slowly. That's the part people don't understand. When life decides to test you, it doesn't send a warning. It just takes. One decision, one mistake, one moment you didn't think twice about, and everything you built starts collapsing. For me, it was my business. Something I spent decades building, gone in less than a year. At first, I thought I could fix it. I told myself, it's temporary. Things will bounce back. They always do. But they didn't. The calls started slowing down. The messages became shorter. The invitations stopped completely. And at first, I didn't notice it. Because when you're trying to survive, you don't count who's disappearing. You just try to stay afloat. But one night, I sat down and looked at my phone. No missed calls. No messages. Nothing. And that's when it hit me. Not the loss of money, not the loss of status, but the silence. Because when you're winning, silence never visits you. But when you fall, silence becomes your closest companion. And in that silence, you start to see things you were too busy to notice before. At first, I told myself a story. They're busy. They'll call. They just don't know what I'm going through. Because that's what you do when you don't want to face the truth. You soften it. You excuse it. You delay it. But truth has a way of catching up. And mine came quietly. Not in one moment, but in many small ones. The friend who used to call every week stopped calling. The people who used to invite me out forgot I existed. The same voices that once said we should meet disappeared completely. And the strangest part? No one said goodbye. They didn't leave loudly. They didn't explain. They just stopped showing up. And that's when I understood something that I wish I learned earlier. Some people don't leave your life when things go wrong. They leave when you have nothing left to offer them. Not intentionally, not out of cruelty, but out of truth. Because your success was the reason they stayed. Your position, your value, your usefulness. And when that disappeared, so did they. That realization, it breaks something inside you. Because you don't just lose people, you lose the illusion that they were there for you. And illusion is harder to lose than reality. But listen carefully, because this is where everything changes. For a while, I was angry. Not at them, at myself, for believing something that wasn't real, for confusing attention with connection, for mistaking presence for loyalty. Because when everything is going well, people gather around you. But that doesn't mean they're standing with you. There's a difference, a big one. Some people stand near you because of what you have. Others stand with you because of who you are. And you don't see that difference until you lose everything. That's the test no one talks about. Not success, failure. Because success attracts people, but loss reveals them. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. At first, that hurts deeply, because you realize how many relationships were built on something temporary. But then, something unexpected happens. You stop chasing people, not out of pride, out of clarity. You stop trying to reconnect with people who already showed you who they are. You stop explaining your situation. Stop justifying your fall. Stop trying to prove that you're still worth something. Because your worth was never in what you had. It was in who you were before everything fell apart. And the people who stayed, they remind you of that. Even if there are only one or two, that's enough. Because real people don't multiply in success. They reveal themselves in loss. And that is where your life truly changes. So let me tell you the truth. The people who clapped for you when you were winning were not the test. Anyone can celebrate you when things are going well. Anyone can smile when there's something to gain. But the real test begins when everything is gone, when there's nothing left to offer. No success, no status, no advantage, just you. And in that moment, You don't just see who stayed. You see who you were living for. That's the part no one prepares you for. Because sometimes you realize you weren't building relationships. You were building relevance. And relevance doesn't last. It disappears the moment you stop being useful. But real connection doesn't care about your situation. It stays, even when there's nothing to gain. So don't be afraid of losing people. Be afraid of keeping the wrong ones. Because the wrong people will drain you in silence. They'll take your energy, your time, your attention, and give you nothing real in return. And you won't notice it until life takes everything away. But if you're watching this, you still have something most people ignore: awareness. So use it. Look around your life, not when you're at your best, but when things are quiet, when there's nothing to offer, when there's nothing to gain. Who is still there? That answer is your truth. And once you see it, you stop wasting your life on people who are only passing through. Now tell me something. When your life was at its lowest, who actually stayed? Write it in the comments. Because the people you name are the only ones who truly belong in your life.